One of the deals the Prime Minister signed was a uranium contract, and there's only one province in Canada with sizable uranium reserves. That is Saskatchewan, and that's why we're going to our favorite Premier, Brad Wallace, Saskatchewan, standing by. I guess he's in Regina. You in Regina? Yeah, Regina.
That's right.
Welcome to the program, Premier Wall. Tell us what this means to Saskatchewan.
Thanks, Don. It means a great deal. Tough to compete with pandas, but you know, we produce 20 to 26% of the world's uranium in the province, and China has the most aggressive plan for the expansion of nuclear power, so civilian electrical generation. And up until now, Saskatchewan, Yellowcake as it's called, has really not had direct access to that market. So we thank the Prime Minister for his leadership on this. I had a chance to talk to him on the weekend. I knew that he would personally be raising the issue, and that the agreement was getting close at the time, but now it's in place. And this means, it means new investment, we think, in the province. I think it means jobs. There's a great story behind the uranium mining industry in our province. The largest uranium miner is Cameco, headquartered in Saskatoon. 42% of their workforce in the mines are First Nations and Métis people. So we have obviously royalties. We have the potential for new jobs as a result of this expansion in our market now into China, and we're grateful for this particular agreement negotiated by the Prime Minister.
One thing you're known for, particularly last year and year before, is the defense of the potash industry. And there's some concern by Canadians out there that they welcome Chinese investment, but they don't want them to get into the business of taking over natural resources. Can you understand that mindset? Do you think it's a real mindset, and what should be done about that?
Well, I think it is. I'll speak to uranium in particular. Cameco, the largest uranium mining company in the world, was formerly, used to be two crown corporations, a federal and a provincial crown, that were merged in the 80s. There was an IPO. It's become a private company, a publicly traded company. It's protected by a golden share, one in Ottawa and, frankly, one in the provincial capital, one that we have. And so it's not a target at all. It can't be a target for that sort of a takeover. There's also non-resident ownership provisions or protections in terms of uranium. I think that this country, our country, can strike the right balance between wanting to attract investment, wanting to open up markets to things like uranium, and also preserving national champions, as was the case with the Potash Corporation. It's what other countries do that are also free trading countries, and we ought not to hold ourselves to a higher standard than other free trading countries do, while we are trying to open up those markets and still welcome some investment to help develop our economy in Canada.
One thing that's clearly going to happen is happening now that you saw the census results yesterday, Premier Wall, and the roar to head out west is like almost a stampede. Obviously, the gateway opening up to China will continue to generate jobs and new investment. Saskatchewan, can it handle all this growth? Is it I know you're getting ready to go to Ireland to try and find workers there next month, but how big a problem is it for Saskatchewan right now to find workers?
Well, the labor shortage is real, it's acute, and it's going to get more acute in future years. So we have to more fully engage First Nations and Métis people in the province. We have to continue to attract expatriates back home. And then we are going abroad, and we have been aggressively expanding our immigration targets and seeing real results from that. There are other challenges to growth as well in terms of infrastructure and housing, and our government's making record investments on both of those counts, with more needed certainly. But we would rather have the challenges of growth, Don, than the challenges the province used to face, which was, of course, losing so many people to other provinces and other parts of the world. So there's a Saskatchewan advantage that's emerging, and as a government, we want to keep that going. We don't take credit for the economy. We know there's been many external factors, but we think, help the Saskatchewan advantage become more of a permanent factor, and that's what we're trying to do. That's why this announcement on uranium is so important. It could mean up to $3 billion worth of new sales of uranium, and that speaks to economic activity into the future.
Does labor shortages actually threaten that economic expansion? Can you see a situation developing where you just can't move any faster because you haven't got people to do the job?
Yes, that'd be one of the challenges to growth, to be very blunt about it, and our employers are telling us that, and that's why we're not going to sit and wait for the matter to resolve itself, for the market to resolve itself. It's why we do advocate for changes in EI. It's why we'll go to job fairs in places like Dublin. It's why we're spending money, investing money in terms of education and training for First Nations and Métis relations, where especially in the northern areas, unemployment is still at an unacceptably high rate relative to non-Aboriginal populations. It's a complete strategy we need to pursue. Housing is also an issue, Don, and so is we need to keep up with infrastructure. And so these are the priorities of our growth agenda, and the labor piece is it's key.
Okay, well, it's a nice problem to have, though, you know, to be too economically prosperous, I guess. Premier Wall, appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks for the time, Don. Take care.